Sounds good. So, everyone, thanks for the opportunity for this all wallet dev. I want to come back to a topic that I presented in this meeting last time. Can I share?
Go
Can I
for
share
it.
screen? Uh, so basically, the concept is that we realize the threat of phishing is a problem, and we have seen industry using let's say ETH 2.0 deposit contract has 8 zeros. Uniswap has 10 zeros. Increasingly, OpenSea have 13 zeros. So traditionally, wallet will show the address of OpenSea as this. And if it's shortened, it will look like this. And it doesn't help much with only 4 zeros showing up and then add last one because anyone who want to fish can still create this. And so it would be ideal if we can come up with some way to show the length of zeros and then the for starting, for ending. It will make the fishing this much harder. And so so that's why I'm gonna bring it to today's meeting for a way to propose one way to show the wallets in a shortened way when there are multiple leading zeros. I don't have a good name for small address or rare address, but basically you get the point. So suggestion would be greatly appreciated of how do we call these kind of address and how do we better show the address? I'm just proposing this uh, as a way to get inspiration.
So you're suggesting putting a 13 in curly braces before the X?
I don't have a good idea about how it could be best represent, but I think it would be good if we can let the short form account for the fact that it has a lot of zeros. So maybe this is not the best way. I'm asking the participants, what is it a good way, or if there's other opportunity ways to represent it? But in at first, I think is it a good idea to represent these many zeros, or the fact that there are a lot of zeros? And that's the first question I want to ask the audience, the participants.
So, what I would say on that is that you need to have a useful reference for how many zeros it should have displayed elsewhere, because otherwise, a user is still going to click through because they're not cognizant of how many leading zeros there should be.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, that's why I think a standard will be helpful because if everyone is just deciding to use the same way to represent it, when users see references from other side, let's say they see it on their wallet and then they go to Etherscan, if they both shows to be represented in the same way, then user can better compare. But if user aren't seeing it out elsewhere, if only one wallet is implementing this short form or any short form, then user wouldn't even be able to know.
I think this is, kind of a general problem because just shortening addresses at all has this issue, right? Like if you cut out the middle part of the address and only display the first four and the last four or something along those lines, like you still need a way to check the whole address, you know what I mean? So like I don't know if we want something specifically for zeros or if we want something that works for just shortening addresses generally.
So yes, you need other way for user to check um, the full length, and then ultimately, I think the domain names is a good way. Um, but in this particular case, solving one problem at a time, I think if we can come up with a standard way to represent at least the zeros, which is just the practice that the the industry is picking up, then we solve the problem, the partial solution with partial solution better than it it is right now, and at least help some of those legitimate projects. So let's say even if you only display 4 characters, like 2 before and 2 after, if you have 13 zeros, you have to mine 13 plus 7 to make it look like the same. And that's very, very hard. That's like 16 to the 16 to the 17 large number.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't really have any particular input. I just think it needs to be considered. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Sorry, can you hear me? Just had to rejoin because I didn't have microphone permission.
Yeah, we can hear you loud and
I'm
clear.
glad to have you back.
Perfect. Hi, I'm just a bit of introduction since it's the first wallet that I'm joining. I'm Fibo from a protocol that's called Min Finance. We do DCA stuff and just cool stuff around Web3. So I wanted to chime a little bit in about this. So talking about showing addresses to users is when we talk about the UX here, I think it goes a little bit beyond just showing a bunch of hexadecimal numbers that the most common user is not going to be able to recognize anyway, right? So what I think we as a community, as a dev community, should aim for is to try to start hiding addresses as much as we can without letting the users not verify them, right? So in this example, the Uniswap Permit2 contract, I wouldn't like to show the user 0x000 stuff. I would just say, hey, you're interacting with the Uniswap Permit2 contract. If you want to click on it, I can show you the full address for that. So you can verify that it's actually the contract you want to interact with. But I think we should try aiming to not actually shortening addresses, because that's just the same problem that we have right now, where you see an address and you don't know what it's linked to. But maybe letting the user go. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. I think we are in very much agreement with that. The problem is that there will be Fisher who comes out and says, "Hey, we are Permit2, and so can you use us and approve with us to interact with Uniswap, and then take your money." And we're trying to solve a problem in a lower level when a Fisher comes up and says, "Hey, we are Uniswap Permit2, and then actually we have an address that looks very similar to Uniswap."
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem. That's the problem we're trying to solve today.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you on this. So I think this problem specifically is, where do we tackle it, right? So who should be tackling the issue of how we display addresses? Should we leave that responsibility to the wallets that are the end users' final approach into either confirming a transaction, signing a transaction, signing a message, etc., etc., etc.? Or should we leave it up to each specific application to handle? I think it should go into the wallet space, right? So each wallet should try to keep up to date as much as it can, because it's really hard to at least the most known protocols and what their contracts are. So we can, so for example, if MetaMask, I'm interacting with the Uniswap Permit2 contract, I would love for MetaMask to tell me, hey, you're interacting with the Uniswap Permit2 contract. And if I go into a phishing site and they say, hey, you're about to interact with Uniswap Permit2, and I click to sign a transaction or whatever, and my MetaMask model pops up. In my MetaMask model, it shouldn't say Uniswap Permit2 anywhere else, right? So that's kind of the point I'm trying to aim for. I don't think I have the right solution for this. I mean, I don't know if there's a silver bullet to handle this. Like, where should it go? I think it should be like more of a joint effort between both. Like, apps should be able to keep their own registry of wallets they're identified to a specific domain, for example, Permit2, and also wallets should try to maintain that record too. It's hard. I know. I don't see how we could improve this.
I agree with you
At the end,
that it would be good for the wallet to also support that. And then I think that's a separate solutions that we can also consider, and there's nothing preventing with us from solving the both. And then it take time for the mass adoptions of all those wallets to also have their own list of legitimate projects that they think. Yeah. So and then we still, as a decentralized and permissionless space, we still want user to be able to verify at the end of the day, right? We're not like Twitter, and who says, hey, if we Twitter consider this is illegitimate, we'll take you down, and the user of Twitter should not be interacting with it. This is permissionless. So at the end of the day, it's up to the user what they want to interact with, and they need to have a way to verify this. Yeah, so I think I'd love to hear wallet builders what your thoughts about having a way to show the address for users to easily compare the contract or the wallet they're interacting with the one that they intend to.
I mean, maybe the recommendation should be that you don't display shortened addresses. So either you display like a name that the wallet provides, or you provide the full address and you just never show shortened addresses.
Effectively, that's a way to do it. It's just that if I swap one address from here, user is still very likely to mistaken them, right? So if it's a very long address and then I swap, I manage to make it very similar to yours, user can get confused. And the longer the address are, the longer it is going to be. Easier to confuse user, just like how you never. So back in the day, people will display summarize of the term of use of a website for user to understand them before they click yes. And then I think the current general approach is that they will show the full thing, and so user will never look into them. So there's a trade-off we made when we show the full text versus and whether user will look at them.
Not to pass any value on, if we should implement it or not, but maybe just a general comment about the idea. There's a lot of zeros in like vanity type wallets, but there are other values that are repeated. So like multiple ones, multiple of a letter, something like that. So the approach that you took right now is 013 and then the part of the address that comes after it. It might be beneficial to keep the 0x and then just compress the parts that come after that and are redundant.
Oh, that's a very helpful suggestion. So something like maybe something like this, right?
Yeah, and this way it could work on anything.
Different address.
Yeah, I still think it's ill-advised to give the shortened address, but it would be better to do it this way than maybe another.
Yeah, it's generally people don't shorten them at all. It's that they will highlight, for example, a lot of our address will highlight the part for user to at least check. So they say if you don't have time to check every single character, and make sure you're not reading the shifted characters, at least check these 8, the top 4 and last 4. And yeah, I agree. If user can do it every time, that's great. And so I'm all for showing the full address. It's just that, yeah, we also find that user don't look at them at all.
I mean, I feel like this should be something we could do empirically. Make a little web page that compares different ways of shortening addresses and find out which ones people are the best at, like, telling the difference between. Because I don't think we can just like guess at what the safest method is going to be. Because like shortening it at all is going to be a problem. So
Right, right.
Yeah, I agree.
And also, yeah, sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I just said that I agree with that. Like, shortening an address is always going to be a risk, no matter how we short it, how we want, what do we want to include or what not. It's always going to be a risk because you're not looking at the full address. And even if you're looking at the full address, it's very easy to uh, not see like a little difference between number, letter, an uppercase, lowercase, just because I get confused, for example, between the I and the I. Sorry, English is not my native, so a little trouble pronouncing the vocals. But yeah, um, yeah, just that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. There's the way to show them is not perfect right now. And also we can have more we can ask for more suggestion on how the better to show the short form, but in general, we will advise user that it's better that they compare the entirely. Yeah. So this is just here to put before all the wallet developers because I don't know any other better venue to talk about this. Thanks for hearing me.
would you like a Discord channel for this? Maybe I find it much easier to get feedback like asynchronously from this group.
Yeah, that'd be great. Inside of wallet, Ethereum wallets, right?
Yep.
I'm honored. It's warrant a separate place. Very legitimate.
Cool. I think that's everything we had scheduled. Again, a little notice that 6963 has gone to final. So if you're a wallet implementer, take a look at it. It lets you have multiple wallets on the same page. And with that, I guess that's the end of this meeting. Thanks, everyone.